Hello booktube, hello book friends. Welcome or welcome back to my channel and another Poetry Thursday of war poetry. I wanted to do something a little bit different this week, in that I wanted to share two poems linked by a theme, which in the First World War, going over the top was the name for leaving the relative safety of trenches, climbing out into no man's land and advancing towards the enemy, very often, in many cases, to a hail of machine gun bullets and mortars and artillery shells, and often loss of life. I want to read two poems, one originally published by poet Philip Johnson, and I also want to read one by a poet, Sybil Bristowe. I need to explain a little bit about who the poets are. Philip Johnston, originally the poem was published, and nobody seemed to know who Philip Johnson was, what had happened to him. Did he survive the war? Nobody knew. It wasn't until much later, until after effectively he died, it was revealed that he was actually John Stanley Purvis, who was a member of the church, a member of the cloth, and ultimately became Canon Purvis of York. So he was quite a well-known, well-respected member of the church. It's not clear why he chose to stay silent about the poem he wrote, but it is published in quite a few anthologies, and it is also published on a stone in the Sussex village of Steyning in West Sussex, and has been kind of, is quite famous for that fact. Sybil Bristowe was born in 1870 and lived until 1954. She wrote a number of war poems published in a collection called Provocations. She lost her brother during the First World War, and never married, but was quite well known for her poetry and so on. So I want to read their two poems, both on the theme of going over the top, both quite different poems, and we'll get to that now. So I'll start with Philip John Stanley Purvis's poem, and then go on to Sybil Bristowe's poem. I can't forget the lane that goes from Steyning to the Ring. In summertime and on the downs, how larks and linnets sing. High in the sun, the wind comes off the sea, and oh, the air. I never knew till now that life in old days was so fair. But now I know it in this filthy rat-infested ditch, when every share may spare or kill, and God alone knows which. And I am made a beast of prey, and this trench is my lair. My God, I never knew till now that those days were so fair. So we assault in half an hour, and it's a silly thing. I can't forget the narrow lane to Chantonbury Ring. And now Sybil Bristowe's poem, which is called Over the Top. 10 more minutes, say your prayers, read your Bibles, pass the rum. 10 more minutes, strike me dumb. Oh, they creeps on unawares, these blooming minutes. 9, it's queer, I'm sorta stunned, it ain't with fear. 8, it's like as if a frog waddled around in your inside, cold as ice blocks, straddle wide, tired of waiting. Where's the grog? 7, I'll pray you pitch and toss. 6, I wins and tails your loss. 'Nother minute sprinted by, 4 I knowed it only 4. Break them into seconds more, twixt us and eternity. Every word I've ever said seems a shouting in my head. 3, last night a little star fairly shook up in the sky, didn't like the lullaby, rattled by the dogs of war. Funny things, that star all white, saw old Blighty too last night. 2, I ain't ashamed of prayers, they only wishes sent ye God, bits of plants and bloody sod, trailing up his golden stairs. 90 seconds, well, who cares? 1, oh Fife, no blare, to no drum, over the top to kingdom come. If you have been watching, thank you. Speak to you again soon. Goodbye.